Excellent. Okay, yeah. So it's we're back again with Young Realty Academy and Ray Jean with McLean International. Yeah, sorry about the delay today. We're talking about succeeding financially and developing your daily disciplines, but every once in a while, a wrench gets thrown into things that we are out of our control. So it's a good lesson for today. With that being said,
Okay.
we're right back on track. So everyone, please welcome Ray Jean, and let's get started.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I love today's topic because there is so much into it, and it affects every single one of us every single day, just like you were saying. What is interesting is, did you know, Stephen, that up to 90% of our normal behavior is based on habits? And many of our daily activities are simply routines. From the time we wake up in the morning until we sleep at night, there are hundreds of things that we do the same way each and every day, from dressing to the way we go about grooming, eating, greeting people, and even all of our business activities as a real estate agent. The problem is, with too much routine, complacency sets in, and we settle for less than we are capable of. And in fact, many of our activities that make up our everyday normal behavior, we're performing unconsciously without thinking. So we may not even know what it is we're doing. So what I'd like to talk with you guys about today is a way that we can understand what we're doing unconsciously. Some things will serve us and some things we'll just have to let go. And so next we'll talk about goals and creating a plan for new daily activities that are purposeful and maybe even slightly outside of our current comfort zone, because that's where the magic happens. We're going to talk about how do we do the impossible, which is manage our time. And finally, we'll talk about how and when to check in on the results we're getting from our new daily disciplines.
Yeah, so just
So
Regine,
what,
on that
yeah,
note, just to go a step further, most people don't even realize, but their annual income is a habit. Okay, and if you make the same income year after year after year after year, it's because you're habitually doing the same things year after year after year. And what most people don't realize is that they have this sort of this greater understanding of there's more out there than just what you're currently doing. Not that everything's about the money, but it's important to understand that if you want to change, you got to change your daily habits. That's why today's a fantastic example of that.
absolutely, very well said. And the thing of it is most of us, we don't really realize. You could say, what gets in your way? Oh, email, this and that. Really, you have no idea how much time you spend on those things. And so that's what I want to talk about right now. It's, do you have level 1 habits that are giving you level 1 results, which are low, or do you have strong level 10 habits that propel you to your potential? And the proof is in the pudding. And exactly what you said, if you want to know what you're doing, look at the results, which I guess is our bank register, right? And so at McLean International, we say focus on the 15s. And while it sounds a bit tedious, it's a great way to uncover the daily habits that are limiting your success. If you can take a day or several days and write down exactly what you do in 15-minute intervals, you will uncover the negative habits that bring negative consequences. And why every 15 minutes? It's because it's the tiny little time stealers that we overlook. But added together, they are the chief reason that people say they don't have enough time in the day. And so taking a look at, what am I actually doing? Am I more effective in the morning? Am I more effective in the afternoon? What's working for me and what's not working for me? And the only way, or to me the best way to do that, is to take a look at what exactly are you doing every day in 15-minute intervals. And so once you go through that exercise, you're going to see where the time stealers are, and you're going to see what the activities are that are outside of your revenue producing activities of prospecting, listing and selling property, and negotiating on behalf of the clients. And then once we know what we need to eliminate, we suddenly have time in the day to create these new daily disciplines that move us forward. So the key is to have a plan where you can execute a set of strategies that will make you money. Once we get in the habit of executing those strategies consistently and systematically, we need to track our results. That way, we know if we've set ourselves up for success with our plan or something needs to be tweaked, which is very often the case. A real important thing to remember as we build our new daily disciplines is that when we say yes to one thing, we have to say no to something else. And so that's why I want everyone to remember that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to justify it. We get real accountable to our business when we start saying yes to the revenue producing activities and we start saying no to everything else. So the plan I'm going to show you how to build has one main business objective, only 3 goals, such that when you achieve those goals, you will gain the main objective, and only 5 strategies for each goals, and that's it. 5 strategies for each of the 3 goals and no more. So it becomes very important to spend time really considering those strategies. So what I'm talking about is a very simple one-page business plan that you can use for your overall annual goals. You can use it for individual special project. It's very simple. One thing that I want to talk about are SMART goals, and you've probably heard of that SMART acronym, right, Stephen?
Yeah, we coach this. You know what? There's 3 types of goals: there's A goals, B goals, and C goals. A goals are goals you already know how to do, and I just tell everybody just throw those out the window because they're useless. B are goals that you want to achieve, but you don't know how to do it. But if you had a plan in place and you stuck to that plan, and you can achieve that goal, that's what we call a B goal. B goals
Mm.
are we use the SMART acronym to describe what a B goal is, right? So we say, set a goal with it you don't know how to attain, and then use a smart plan as your business plan to achieve that goal. And C goals, just to cap it off, is what we call fantasy goals. What do you want to be doing every single day of your life if time and money were no issue? And that's really what everyone ultimately should be striving for. But real estate
Right.
specific businesses, we focus on the B goal, which is your annualized salary. We say, I want everybody in the company setting $1 million as their sales target every single year, especially in a city like Toronto. It's very easy to do. But if you don't have this smart business plan in place, nothing's going to happen.
Awesome. Very well said. Absolutely. And so SMART is an acronym, and the S stands for specific. So there is no doubt about what your intentions are. For example, if you set a goal to call my sphere of influence every day, that is not specific enough.
Mhm.
Specific is how many contacts are you going to make? How long will you time block for that activity? That's specific. And I'm just reading a book. It's a great book, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it later on in the presentation. But it has a quote in it that I love. It says, "A goal without a number is just a slogan." And I just adore that.
That's
The
great.
M stands, yeah, the M stands for measurable. So you have to be able to measure it, right? You can't just say, I want to increase my sales. Well, you can increase it by 1, but I don't think that was really what you're after. So measurable. The A is attainable. That means, come on, with this new plan, you're going to be able to get it done. But that's why I like the R. Instead of standing for relevant, I like it to stand for risky. So if we're going to have attainable in here, I want to add risky. So let's stretch just a bit. If we set stretch goals versus quote unquote reasonable goals most of the time, we'll pass our reasonable goals because we are forced to decide on bigger models for our business and better strategies. The truth is, and I know you've seen this, humans have a natural tendency to slow down as we get close to reaching our goal. Us,
I think,
right?
yeah, Ray Jean, yeah, just on that point, we coach reasonable as to say something, especially specific to real estate. It would be, if your goal is to be selling 1,000 commercial condo units or buildings, the entire buildings every single year, and they don't even exist in the city. Well, that's probably not reasonable. And I think
Yes.
so. So reasonable is good. I think we can use both R's. It has to be somewhat risky because most people don't stretch themselves the way that they need to stretch themselves, but
Right.
reasonable in the fact that you have to make something that actually is attainable. Right? If it's not
Right.
attainable and reasonable, what's the point of even having it as a goal, right?
Absolutely. Very well said again. And having that stretch goal assures us that we'll have the momentum to blow by our realistic goal probably because we're not slowing down. And I've seen it time and time again, people will slow down. And even if we don't hit our stretch goal, we still surpass our realistic goal, and that feels really great, and it actually sets the bar higher for us for next year, which is always a benefit. And finally, the T stands for time sensitive. Everything must have a deadline. It can't just be left out there hanging. So to recap, what we're going to talk about right now is writing down one main objective. Most of the time, it's a certain amount of gross commission income by the current year. That is our one business objective. Next, what are 3 goals such that if you achieve them, will assure you the main objective? Many times I see that it's, goal A may be number of closed listings, goal B may be number of closed buyers, and the third goal can be anything you want for your business. Sometimes it's implementing a great CRM if you're not already using it, or it's upgrading your website, and sometimes it's adding leverage to your business. Those are very good A, B, and C goals.
Yeah, so leverage on that point. Just earlier training we had this week with Ray G talking about building your team. That's leverage, right? I'm not sure if you're going to
Absolutely.
talk about that, but that could be also one of your goals for the calendar year. Not only just the sales, but how are you growing your team? How are you growing your business?
Right, absolutely. Because if you're going to grow your business to double the amount of units you're doing, some sort of leverage in your life will be very helpful as you start to realize that goal. So we've got our one objective, we've got our three goals, such that when we hit those three goals, we'll be assured of our objective. Now we want to decide on 5 strategies for each goal, not 6. Right? 5. I'd like to limit you to 5, because remember what I said, when we say yes to things, we also have to say no to other things. So I love the 5 strategies. This is where you have to work to make sure that they're smart strategies, because you will hold every strategy accountable to the results you expect. So as we're filling out our strategies, not only do I want them to be very smart, but if you set up as an open house as one of your strategies to acquiring your listings, I want you to really think about how many leads per month do I think I'm going to get from this strategy, and jot it down. We should be able to look at your 5 strategies and say, on any given month, is that going to get me to my goal? Because we must have those goals to hit our objective. The magic pill, and this slide just kind of shows you what it could look like. I didn't put a dollar figure for the objective, but if you take a look at this, so I've set 100 closed units by December 31st, 2014, and 2 of my goals are here: 50 closed listings, and I've put on here 69 listing appointments held. That allows for a certain number of listings that don't sell, and it allows for a certain number of listing appointments I go on that I don't get the listing. So it's very important that you understand your conversion ratios, and I know Stephen can help you with that. So when we're setting our goal, it's very specific. I might need 50 closed listings, but in reality, I must go on 69 listing appointments to hit those 50 closed listings. And so what I've done is I've just very quickly, without putting a whole lot of thought into it, you guys, I've put down 5 strategies that one might use to be able to get enough leads to go on 69 listing appointments. You're going to make your 5 strategies the things you will do. If you see somebody knocking it out of the park with door knocking, but you absolutely aren't going to do that, please don't put it as one of your strategies. Don't set yourself up to fail. Always set yourself up to win.
Yeah,
And
I'm not sure if Lewis is on the call with us, but he's our in-house door knocker. And at Young Realty, we don't promote door knocking. It's not a great use of your time, as per my experience. But Lewis is, he's got the great personality. He's got that, a nice accent that goes line. He gets a lot of people interested from these interaction he has door to door. I think one thing he can learn, and I think everybody can learn, if you're going to do door knocking, literally don't just go up and knock on doors. Like, have something to either sell them or talk to them about. I love your example here of go to 21 homes around each listing within 72 hours. Anyone who's going to do door knocking, if this is something you want to do, again, that's a big if, right? If you don't feel comfortable with it, it cannot be in your top 5 things. But if you do feel comfortable with it, go door knocking, but do door knocking effectively. This house just listed down the street. I'm happy to give you a market evaluation. This home just sold. I'm happy to tell you what it sold for, or how we can interact you and show you how we market the home and sell your home from over asking or over market value. So you need to use your door knocking strategy effectively, not just go out and door knock.
absolutely. And even mine are not specific enough. For example, the whole 2 open house events per week, Wednesday through Sunday, I want you to write on there how many hours each one is going to be. I want to know, are you going to door knock the 21 homes around that listing and invite them to the open house? I want to know how many leads you expect to get from that activity, so that you can track it, because you won't know if your plan works unless A, you execute it, and B, you track it. At any point, you may want to pull one of your strategies off of your plan and use a different daily discipline to get to your goal. That's the main thing I want to tell you here. And like Stephen was just saying, doing it purposely, door knocking 21 homes without doing it purposely will net you nothing but heat stroke if you're in Arizona like I am. Look at number 5, direct mail geographic farm monthly. This is how specific I like to see it. How many homes and what is the absorption rate in the neighborhood? You know, set a limit. Um, don't just pick a neighborhood because you like the builder. You know, get really, really on focus. This is part of what I'm talking about of going outside of your comfort zone. We're gonna go from your natural entrepreneurial style to a far more purposeful style to actually hit your goal. Does that make sense?
It does. Regine, can you just expand on SOI and absorption rate for people on the line who know
Yes.
what I mean?
So SOI, a lot of realtors get the bulk of their business from their sphere of influence, which is their people who know them and trust them. It's their past clients, it's their friends and family, it's their car mechanic, their dentist, people who know you and trust you. And when you get a referral from your sphere of influence, a beautiful thing happens. You don't get the commission objections. You don't go in and have to compete with 2 or 3 other realtors because you've been referred to them from somebody that they also know and trust. It's just a different ball game, and it's a beautiful thing. And a lot of agents will have the bulk of their business coming from this, and how they do it is they just make 10 contacts. I'm not talking about dials, I'm talking about an actual conversation. They'll just make 10 contacts a day and say, hi, Stephen. Hey, it's RJ. Hey, today's call is about business. Do you have 2 minutes? And they're setting it straight that they're not calling to chit chat. Today's call is about business. I have a personal goal to take 10 listings this month, and I was wondering if I could count on you to help me. And basically, you're finding out who they know, because they all will hear of about 8 people making a move within a 12-month period. Who do they know that you can contact to talk about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? That's what that is. And then as far as the farm goes, I've seen people have great luck out of farm. Some farms, I mean, you would want to talk to Stephen about this, or someone about farming, because it's not something you typically see a response from very quickly. Um, but you want to take a look at before you ever spend money on a geographic farm is how many homes in that neighborhood are selling. And I know people who they like to hover around the 9% mark. I for sure wouldn't go below 7%. And also, a second thing you want to look at when you're farming is, are there already 1 or 2 big hitters in that neighborhood that you would be competing with? Farming is an investment over time.
Yeah, so for a good example, I'll give you an example, Regina, here in Toronto. So last month we had 1,000, just a little bit over 1,000 condos, just in the little pocket of the downtown core. 1,000 new listings that came on the market, 300 of which were sold, just under 300. So that'd be about approximately 30% absorption rate. So for anybody looking for their market, their farm area, make sure that you are well above that 7% market. It's very easy to find in Toronto. However, there are pockets of the city where you'll have like literally like 50 homes on the street and nothing sells ever because they're generationally passed down. So there's no point of being number one in that area because you're never going to sell anything.
Very, very right. Very true. You guys always want to know where you're spending your money, especially, and holding that accountable. So this is an example of one objective, 3 closings or 3 goals, and 5 strategies. This is a great thing to have in front of you at all times. Whenever you get overwhelmed during the day and you say, oh my gosh, what should I be doing right now? You go to your strategies. The beautiful thing about, if you look at goal A and B, which is A is listings and B are buyers, you'll see that number 3 is a repeat from number 1. You know, a lot of the activities that you do to generate listings are also activities that you do to generate buyers. So it's not as overwhelming as it may seem. So this is what you're going to use to decide what your daily disciplines are. The magic pill to developing your daily discipline is accountability. You know, through accountability, that's how we can create new habits. The habits that you want to develop are the strategies that you've identified as necessary to hit your goals. And like I mentioned before, I'm reading, oh, we are missing a slide. I'm reading a great book, and this is it. It's called The Power of Focus. Let me jump ahead, guys. I don't know what is going on with my Mac.
It's
It's called
Friday.
The
That's what
Power of
it is.
Focus.
Yeah,
I don't know, Stephen. I'm telling you, I've never had, you know, we've done a lot of these. I
we have.
apologize to
Yeah,
everyone. I've never had this. I did do an update, so possibly it's probably operator error. But I'm reading a book called The Power of Focus: How to Hit Your Business, Personal, and Financial Goals, or financial targets with absolute certainty. And I really recommend it. And I'm going to see if I can get to it now.
Yeah, as
Wow,
do I. I've read the book
I've got
myself.
an issue
It's an
here.
incredible book.
Yes, it's fantastic. That's what it looks like. And in the book, it talks about how long it takes to change a habit. And it says, for small habits, it can take 3 to 4 weeks, which that's something that I've always heard. 3 to 4 weeks. So after 21 to 30 experiences with a new habit, it's harder not to do than to do it. But in the book, it says if you've been doing something repeatedly for 30 years, you may not be able to let it go in a few short weeks. That's what we have to remember. Sometimes I think we're really hard on ourselves. We say, okay, we're going to create this new habit. We always hear 21 days. And when it doesn't happen in 21 days, we beat ourselves up. So I just want you to be aware of the habit you're trying to change and how long you've had it.
Yeah, so just on that point, I did a in-depth study on this actual change of habits, and there's a book called The One Thing, and there's a study done by Harvard, and I believe Stanford did one as well. So what the conclusion of the study stated was that the 21 days, there was no real evidence of a specific timeline to change a habit. The only thing they could come up with in all the studies around the entire world was that they looked at the weight loss industry, and the weight loss industry on average stated that if you could stick to a diet or a workout plan for 21 days, you are more than 90% likely to stick to that plan. That is the only reference in the entire planet to say that that is what a habit would potentially take to change or to stick to. Now, that being
Right,
said, everybody's different. Like you said, if you've been doing something for 30 years every single day, the likelihood of you change that after 21 days is probably unrealistic. However, we study a lot. Well, I study a lot of Bob Proctor's material. A
mm-hmm.
lot of things he talks about is paradigm shifts and how everything's ingrained within your subconscious thinking. Don't really want to get into that on this topic on this session today, but what you need to realize is that you have these things even from birth. We do things that we were. I put my pants on the same way I probably did when I was a child as I do today. Like it just has never changed. Can I
Right,
change it? Possibly. Will it take 21 days? Probably not. It'll probably take a lot longer because I've been doing it the same way, same day, every single day for my entire life. So that is what you have to realize, and this isn't something that it could potentially happen overnight, but realistically, it's not going to. But it's important that you have a plan in place, you stick to that plan, and you just have to have faith that that plan is going to work out. And like
right,
my everyone in my office knows, 'cause I'm always harping on it and preaching on it. You do not want to be in a situation like I was in, where my goal was wrong, and I achieved the goal, and then I was disappointed because I was like, damn, my goal should have been a lot bigger. I've always tell examples that I wanted to be a millionaire before I was 30. The problem was I hit that goal. I was like, damn it, I should have said 10 million, right? Like
yeah,
my goal was to make the CFL, and I made the CFL. The problem was my goal should have been to be a contributor. It should have been an all-star, a Hall of Famer, whatever it was. The challenge was my goal was wrong. So that's why I'm always
right,
harping on everyone to have these bigger goals. So $1 million is sort of the benchmark that we have for our agents. It's your gross revenue income for one calendar year. And that is what the starting point is for everybody in the office. And if you don't have that goal and you meet your goal, and let's say your goal is 100,000, you hit that goal, well, are you going to be happy with that? You might be,
exactly.
but realistically, probably not, because you realize it would have been just as easy to get 200,000 or 500,000 or a million. There's no difference. There takes no more time or effort to get more money than it does to get less money. Period.
Right. Yes, absolutely. I love that. And I think a lot of times when we set our goals, we have to start thinking about why do I want that goal? Why is that important to me? And maybe that can bring some clarity. So you could have set the 10 million instead of the 1 million.
Exactly. The clarity
That's
comes with the C goals. So I talk about these fantasy goals. What is it that you want to be doing every single day of your life? If you could just wave a magic wand and time and money were no issue, what is it that you truly want out of life? Is it to give back to the communities? Is it to change the world? It sounds very philosophical and sort of airy fairy, but it's very important to understand where you're going. What direction are you going in? What direction are you moving towards? There's no point of earning money just for the sake of earning money if you don't do anything with it, right? So that's why
right.
it's very important to have all these different types of goals. The goals are important because they're smart goals, they're planned goals. You just don't know exactly how you're going to do it, but do know you will get there. Success leaves trailers, and they leave this long stream of these past experiences. If you just repeat what other successful people have done, it's very common practice to say you will get the same results that they've got. Just do exactly what they've done, step by step by step.
Right. Absolutely. The thing of it is when you start talking about your C goals and the big goals that you want for your life, I feel passion when I think about those goals. The trick is how do you bring the passion into your B goals? Because when things are kind of hitting the fan, you have a bad day, your PowerPoint doesn't print. You've got to have something. You've got to have something behind you, pushing you forward on, so that you have some passion behind even your B goals. That's what's going to propel you forward and have you do the things that you don't normally want to do, especially in the time period where you're trying to create the new habits. And if you think about it, if you changed only 4 habits every year, and I like to change things in health, finance, spirituality, you know, the bigger, mental, those kinds of things. If you change 4 habits a year, in 5 years, you'd have 20 new positive habits. And do you think that that could affect your success? I absolutely think adding 20 new positive habits could change my life in 5 years. And it's the accountability towards doing these new activities for the 3 to 4 weeks or more, if it's something you've held on to for a while. That's what makes that so critical. And I'll just share with you one way that I apply this to my life is every Friday I have a 6 a.m. call with 3 high-achieving ladies, and we're all over the country, and we call ourselves the Fab Four. And first thing we do is we state our gratitude list for the day, and then we review the goals that we set the previous week to make sure we're all moving forward. And when one of us stumbles, the other 3 chimes in and says, well, have you thought about doing it this way? Well, have you thought about modifying this? Or let me help you. And it's one of the best things that ever happened to me was getting into that group, because what they're helping me do is set new habits in the 4 most important areas of my life, health, business, finances, personal growth, very, very important. So I hope everybody on the call has someone that they can help hold accountable as they develop the new habits that are going to give them financial success.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think most people have to realize there is a default mechanism in place here. We're just naturally born this way. If you don't have success habits in place, you default to non-success habits. So
Mm.
keep in mind, if you're not doing something successful towards your goal, you will be doing something unsuccessfully towards your goal. So if you're not out there with clients, then you're going to be sitting in front of a TV. If you're not out there at the gym, then you're going to be sitting on a couch. I trust me, I get this, and I hope everybody else does as well. And so you have to understand that success just doesn't happen. It doesn't just happen because you think about it. You have to actually get up, get off the couch, go out there and get the business done. You have to take action steps. It's very important.
Wow. Yeah, I love that you said that. That reminds me something that I say all the time. And a lot of time it's about teams, working within teams and creating a cohesive team. But it's the same thing for your business. It's in all things, you will do one of 2 things. Always, always, one of 2 things will be happening at any given moment. You will either be contributing to your business or you will be contaminating your business. There is nothing in between. So if you look at your daily activities, and I know it sounds awful to write down every 15 minutes what you're doing. I acknowledge that. However, it's very important. And you can look at how much of my day am I contributing to my business and how much of my day did I contaminate my business. It's just very, very powerful.
Yeah,
And so,
that's a lesson, Regine, that I think as long as everyone who's on the line listening right now, you have to be aware. This isn't something we question that you do every single day, 365 days a year. This is a
no,
benchmark to say, okay, what are you actually doing? Let's just say, like, let's do this for an entire week. What are you doing for an entire week? And then how can you change that the following week and the second week? And then you've made those changes. Then the second week, how are you then improving in the second week to the third to the fourth? And you get to a point where you realize that every 15 minutes is significant.
yes, absolutely. Those are the tiny little time stealers. It's just like when you want to cut your budget. The fastest way to a profit is to lower your expenses. You look at the little tiny things and they all add up. It's the same way with the day that you're given. And so just to sum it up for you, Stephen, the financial and business success lies within their daily disciplines. That's what I want everyone to know. And I hope I've given you some ideas to identify what you're doing unconsciously. I think that's the key word that doesn't serve you. And I hope I've given you permission to say no to some things. And I hope I've shown you one example of how to decide about your new daily disciplines that you can turn into habits. And so if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or if anybody has any feedback to share.
Yeah, so normally we just open the line up to everybody. We can do so, but to keep it somewhat organized here, if somebody could type into the side panel a question for Regine or myself, we'll open up the line and you can ask the question. Or if there are no questions, I'll just open up the line and people can start speaking. So please, any questions? Regine doesn't look like it.
It doesn't. So we were so thorough, Stephen.
Yeah, so we must have covered everything.
We must have. So I just hope everybody will commit to, go tell somebody that you are committed to changing your daily disciplines. You can look at your first quarter of the year and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on how well you produced. What did you commit to spend your time in the first quarter but failed to actually put any time there? And decide what are my daily disciplines I've got to put into place for the second quarter. That would be a great thing to do for your business.
Regine, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Did you
sorry,
hear that?
you just got cut off there at the end. That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that, taking a look at where you committed to spend your time in the first quarter but failed to, and then creating the daily disciplines to get that back into your business for the second quarter would be very valuable for everybody on the call.
Absolutely. So one thing of note as well, there's also a study done years ago, which has probably changed recently, anyways. But they did a study on how much TV North Americans watch, and it was something like 6 hours a day, something ridiculous. And
Wow.
recently, the study was transitioned to how much, not just TV time, but like screen time. So how much time you spend in front of the computer, your phone, your iPad, and the TV. And it's something like 8 hours a day spent in front of these gadgets and gizmos. And think about how much time is just wasted that you could spend on
Yeah,
growing your business.
right. And yet most Americans say, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time.
Exactly.
That's a staggering number.
Yeah.
That's
It's
amazing. I
awful.
had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Again, Ray Jean, thank you so much again for the session. And we don't have any questions coming through, so thanks you again for being very thorough.
Okay.
And we'll speak to you very soon for the next session.
Thank you very much for having me.
Anytime.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.